The third group of biological macromolecules that we will look at are lipids. Lipids are made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and phosphorus. The building blocks of lipids are fatty acids and glycerol. There are three classes of lipids. We have phospholipids, triglycerides, and steroids. Phospholipids, as the name indicates, contain phosphate groups. A single phospholipid has a head and two tails. The head contains the phosphate group and the glycerol. The tails are made up of fatty acid chains. The main function of phospholipids is structural. It makes up the bulk of each cell membrane. So each cell membrane contains two rows of phospholipids. The second class of lipids are triglycerides. This is what we call fats. The main function of a fat is to store energy. So when you run out of glucose for fuel, we use fats or fatty acids as our energy source. So you have your glycerol and three fatty acids, the three structures that you see there. The main functions are stored energy, and fats also form cushioning between organs. The third class of lipids are steroids. Many of our hormones, such as testosterone, estrogen, cortisol, aldosterone, they're all made up of steroids. So hormones are steroids. Also, cholesterol is a steroid. Cholesterol is found in the cell membrane. The fourth class of biological macromolecules are nucleic acids. The nucleic acids are made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. The building blocks of nucleic acids are nucleotides. Each nucleic acid is made up of a phosphate, a sugar, and a base. There are four kinds of bases: adenine, guanine, thymine, and cytosine. The phosphate is the round structure that you see. Then we have the 5-carbon sugar, which is connected to the base. There are four types of bases found in DNA, and that is adenine, guanine, thymine, and cytosine. So there we have it. A single nucleotide is made up of a sugar, a phosphate, and a base. This is something you need to remember. Nucleic acids are made up of three classes: DNA, RNA, and ATP. DNA is short for deoxyribonucleic acid, and it is double-stranded. It looks like a double helix. Imagine a spiral staircase. The handrail of the staircase is made up of the sugar and phosphate groups, and the actual stairs that we step on are made up of the bases. The A matches with T and G matches with C. That is how you make each step. The lines that you see between them are the hydrogen bonds. The main function of DNA is to carry genetic information. DNA codes for proteins. The next class is RNA, or ribonucleic acid. This is a single-stranded molecule. If it were to match with itself, then A would match with U, which is uracil, and G would match with C. Again, you find hydrogen bonds between these matched pairs. The main function of RNA is protein synthesis. The third class is ATP, which is short for adenosine triphosphate. We have an adenine group, an OS, the adenosine, so OS is the sugar, and the triphosphate, which stands for 3 phosphates with high energy bonds between them. The main function of ATP is to act as the energy currency of the cell. Let's quickly recap what we know about lipids. Lipids are made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and phosphorus. The building blocks of lipids are fatty acids and glycerol. You can have either 2 fatty acids and 1 glycerol or 3 fatty acids and 1 glycerol. There are 3 classes of lipids, and they are phospholipids, steroids, and triglycerides. Phospholipids make up the bulk of the cell membrane. Remember, those are the ones with a head and two tails. The steroids, as we said earlier, are hormones and cholesterol. The third are triglycerides, which are also known as fats, and these are made up of one glycerol and three fatty acids, and their main function is stored energy. Let's recap what we know about nucleic acids. Nucleic acids are made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus. The building blocks of nucleic acids are nucleotides. Each nucleotide is made up of a sugar, a phosphate group, and a base. You could have 4 different bases: adenine, guanine, thymine, or cytosine. The 3 classes of nucleic acids are DNA, RNA, and ATP. The function of DNA is to carry genetic information. The function of RNA is to carry out protein synthesis. ATP is the energy currency of the cell.